With me today is State Chief Economist Dave Schmidt. DETR continues to see strides made in addressing the highest level of unemployment claims since the pandemic closures in our state's history. This only remains possible due to the efforts of the dedicated DETR staff working to connect Nevadans to eligible benefits. I want to express my thank you to all the DETR team that continues to carry on each day, ever focused with the mission critical work throughout the duration of this pandemic. Your successes are countless, and know you have the support to continue the critical work of connecting Nevadans to their benefits. I want to thank the governor and his staff for their constant affirmation and support of DETR. We recognize that they too are managing an enormous amount of work currently with all other facets of the government, and we appreciate their focus to assist us in whatever manner possible. I also want to highlight the continued support we receive from our different state agencies, federal, state, and local community partners and stakeholders. They have shown up to assist in various ways, to assist from everything from lending staff and resources to sharing updated information to shared clients. They also have been a source of ideas and related support to evolve our services more quickly as the weeks have gone on. I thank all of you for this support and dedication during this time. Today, DETR's Chief Economist Dave Schmidt will be providing us with the updated unemployment insurance and pandemic unemployment assistance data. This includes data regarding shifts in the workforce as is reflected in the change in filing numbers. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Can we please put up the pie chart? Standard unemployment insurance is for individuals who lose their jobs through no fault of their own. These people are people whose employer paid into the unemployment insurance program and who both earned enough wages and worked enough hours to be eligible for those benefits. As of June 20th, 538,892 total claims have been filed for standard unemployment insurance on the UINB site. And this number includes both new claims and reopened claims with intervening employment, which we also call additional claims. 517,240 of those claims have been filed since March 14th. Of those eligible filers who filed weekly claims, 241,150, or 89% of those eligible claims were successfully paid. The number of weekly claims filed is another decline from last week, which continues to reflect claimants returning to work in Nevada. 17,515 people filed for benefits but were employed and not eligible because they had earnings for that week that were greater than their weekly benefit amount. This number is steady compared to last week. 3,882 people had insufficient hours or wages to qualify for UI benefits, and this is of those people who filed a weekly claim. 51,019 people did not file a claim for the week, up compared to last week. These are people who either started but did not finish their weekly claim, never started the claim, or reported to us that they were not going to file a claim for the week. Federal law does require that filers file weekly claims in order to receive payment, to verify their eligibility for that week. Finally, there are 24,970 other unpaid claims. This is again a decrease compared to last week, and these are the filers whose claims are being held because either federal or state law require DETR to adjudicate their claims. This number also includes claims that have been identified as fraud and are being held to not be paid. It's important to note this is not just people with valid claims who are just being held up by an issue, but it includes people who may or may not be paid once that claim is adjudicated. Can we please put up the share of claims paid chart? To look at that 89%, it's important to take a look back at our history and see how many claims we typically pay. This chart looks back on a quarterly basis from 2015 through the first quarter of 2020, and then provides the weekly numbers that we have going back to early April. As you can see, historically, we tend to pay between 85 and 95% of weekly claims. Not all claims end up being paid. The average is actually 89%, which is exactly where we are this week. You can see here that in the initial stages of the pandemic, there was a dip due to the number of claims coming in, but we've recovered to that historical level. Going forward, we would probably expect to see about 90% of claims being paid, consistent with that historical average. Can we please switch to the PUA chart? As of yesterday, Nevada has taken 190,262 initial claims for PUA, and 141,783 of those have had a weekly claim filed, which is about 75%. As with regular unemployment insurance, claimants must file a weekly claim in order to receive payment. So 25% of PUA claims do not have a weekly claim and therefore cannot be paid. As of this morning, 95,490 claims have been paid, over $860 million. That represents 2/3 of those claims that have a weekly claim, which is a difference of 46,293. With these numbers, it's really important to note that in our initial claims, as well as our total weekly claims, in recent days, we've seen a large surge in activity with over 15,000 claims being added on a daily basis. Given that estimates of self-employment in Nevada range from about 85,000 to potentially 150 or 200,000, the rapid increases that we're seeing in PUA seems to exceed the number of people who we would expect to be eligible for this program. As with regular UI, the important figure is not 100% payment of all initial claims, but proper payment of all claims that are filed. As with other states, Nevada is seeing an unusually high level of potential fraud in the PUA program compared with the UI program, and significantly more claims within PUA will need to be held for fraud review as a result. For example, in order to qualify for PUA, claimants must be unemployed, underemployed, unable to work, or unavailable for work in a particular week due to COVID-19, in addition to meeting other eligibility requirements. The first case of COVID-19 was not detected in Nevada until March 5th, so we believed it highly unlikely there would be a significant number of claims in February. However, nearly 34,000 claims have been filed for claiming benefits for 1 or more weeks in February. You can take down this chart. As of this morning, DETR has paid out $4 billion in unemployment benefits since the start of the pandemic. This number is far higher than all of the benefits that were paid in both 2009 and 2010 combined, even including federal assistance during those times. Some people have asked what happens if we exhaust our trust fund. And I want to be sure to let people know that DETR will borrow money, and if our trust fund is exhausted, it will not impact anyone's unemployment benefits. Heading into the pandemic, we had a balance of about $2 billion in the state's unemployment trust fund. We've currently drawn about half of that balance. We have about $950 million remaining at this point in time. I'd like to turn it back to Administrator Goff.
Thank you, Dave. As shared by our Chief Economist, DETR continues to successfully process both UI and PUA claims. Press briefings are an opportunity to provide generalized information about DETR programs and process. These comments are not specific to any one claim, and each person has a unique circumstance which must be considered. We want to continue to remind claimants in both UI and PUA that federal law requires that you must file a weekly claim in order to receive benefits. Many eligible claimants in both UI and PUA have not filed weekly claims and therefore cannot be paid. The quarter change is coming in the first week of July. DETR is required to verify that all PUA claimants are not newly eligible for standard UI benefits at the quarter change. This is a federal requirement. Backdating claims in both UI and PUA require that DETR review monetary eligibility and review ongoing eligibility to determine continued eligibility for each week filed. We have received additional inquiries about the specifics of backdating of claims. An example of a backdating would be someone who wants to claim a week in March that has not been previously claimed. This shifts the claim to a prior quarter of wages, requiring a new monetary calculation. It may have an impact on any unresolved issue on the claim and will need to be re-examined. This requires adjudication steps that will delay payment on a claim. The predominance of current workloads in UI and PUA require adjudication in accordance with DOL law and regulation and state statute. DETR continues to add resources to the adjudication process and has added additional efficiencies to the adjudication processes. This includes leveraging all waivers that have been made available to us. This enables DETR to make eligibility determinations in the quickest manner. Existing automated jobs remain in place while current waivers for items such as work search remain in effect. These will remain to expedite issue resolution on claims for the immediate future. Changes to these waivers will follow the governor's reopening phases and track with the reopening of workforce services through the Job Connect offices. We understand the frustration, however, federal law requires DETR to take these steps to ensure program eligibility and integrity are maintained. As a reminder, both UI and PUA claimants must file their weekly claim. Please ensure you file your weekly claims at either UINV or Employee NV. There have also been a lot of questions related to fraud recently. While Nevada cannot comment on specifics related to active investigations, we can share some basic information. There are large and active efforts by coordinated groups and organizations and individuals to commit fraud. This is not unique to Nevada. Nevada is actively working collaboratively with state and federal law enforcement entities and the Department of Labor to address. Numbers as previously shared by our state economist Dave Schmidt include known and suspected fraud for unemployment benefits. This fraudulent activity has a detrimental impact on legitimate filers. DETR is adding resources to speed up the identification and investigation of such fraud. It is important to note that 100% of claims filed in either program will not be eligible for payment, and that universe of claims includes these fraudulent filings. Nevada takes fraud very seriously and will exhaust necessary efforts to prevent and identify fraud. Additionally, Nevada will follow fraudulent claims up to and including prosecution and other civil remedies afforded under law. Note that unemployment fraud is considered a felony under Nevada revised statute. We advise that we will be limiting further information regarding any investigation and will not be sharing details to protect case integrity. If you have any suspicion that you have been a victim of fraud or know someone who is committing fraud, please visit our website at detr.nv.gov and select the fraud reporting form on the left-hand side under our quick links to file a report. If you suspect your identity has been stolen, please report to the Attorney General's office at their website at ag.nv.gov. Under the Victims of Crime section, select Identity Theft for further guidance. We strongly advise that Nevadans use guidance from DETR as a trusted source of information as it relates to all UI and PUA claims. We hear from many people who are getting information from alternate sources, and the information is often inaccurate or out of sync with current federal law and regulation. We want to ensure that Nevadans have accurate information. We'd like to outline some eligibility guidelines for the CARES program because we've been asked several questions about those processes. Can you please put up the CARES flowchart, please? Do we have the CARES flowchart available? Okay.
I do not see that chart. I apologize.
Okay, I will just walk through the information. Persons who have lost a job of no fault of their own with it, that have W-2 wages for 2019 should be filing a claim in our standard UI system. Persons with insufficient W-2 wages deemed ineligible for standard UI may have further eligibility for PUA benefits if they meet the criteria outlined in the CARES Act. Federal law clearly prescribes who may be eligible for PUA: self-employed, 1099 contract workers, gig workers. employees with wages that are not reported for unemployment insurance, employees who have not earned enough wages or worked enough hours for regular unemployment benefits, and individuals who are going to start work but who could not due to the COVID pandemic. Further details on the CARES Act are available at DETR.nv.gov. Select our COVID-19 unemployment insurance for claimants and employers link under Quick Links and navigate to the CARES Act on the page. Many people have also inquired about PUA appeals functionality. While a vendor indicated the functionality would be live by this weekend, we have discovered this week through numerous testing efforts that this module is not ready to deploy. We are working with the vendor to get this functionality fully implemented mid next month or mid-July. We intend to take technological delays into account when processing and reviewing any requests for appeals. We will continue to update the press and on PUA appeal functionality as it becomes available. Also, for clarification regarding a misconception that persists, claimants can file in either UI or the PUA systems without any limitation. These systems are independent of each other, so there's no barriers there. We've received many questions about timing related to PUA payments, and each claim is different. We received many questions about PUA claims filed on the first date available for filing on May 16th. Staff have reviewed these claims, and any that remain unpaid either have not filed weekly claims or they have another issue on their claim preventing payment. DETR continues to receive questions also about the Oracle call center and the use of robo-apps. This problem does persist, and we are working closely with the vendor to try to find alternate solutions to this issue. We encourage claimants to avoid the use of these apps as they may experience temporary access limitations. We want to ensure that all Nevadans have access. Earlier this week, there was a fiber line cut also in the Las Vegas area that caused significant outages to the entire state network, impacting many agencies. This included DETR. These issues have persisted throughout the week, and the State of Nevada Enterprise IT Services are actively working with vendors to resolve this issue. These issues were not with our DETR website or with UINV or with EmployeeNV. There are also many questions about employers recalling their staff to work. The Department of Labor guidance is very clear. If a claimant is asked to return to work, they must accept suitable work or risk losing their benefits. Employers are required per federal regulation to inform DETR of any employee who refuses suitable work. When an employee is notified of the termination of benefits, they are to report unique circumstances which could be addressed through adjudication and the appeals process. Next, I would like to share some information that we're already working on for reopening and providing job services to Nevada workers. Nevada is currently updating all our Job Connect sites with appropriate barriers and signage regarding social distancing in anticipation of reopening. We are concentrating on ensuring that we provide suitable spaces for customers that will need in-person job services when we reopen. Note that we are putting in place technology options to support job services remotely through virtual platforms. As we move closer to reopening dates, we will share additional details on how to engage our offices through these new tools to serve customers. We are hopeful all these choices will be able to provide many Nevadans to connect to job safety and quickly wherever they are throughout the state without having to come directly to our offices. Also, please note that the UI and PUA call centers are working on Friday, July 3rd. In observation of July 4th, we will be closed on Saturday, July 4th. Thank you for your continued interest and collaboration, and we look forward to speaking with you again after the July 4th holiday with additional updates and information. Thank you.
Are you ready to take questions now, Administrator?
We are ready.
Okay. First question is from Michelle Rindles at thevendy.com. Can you elaborate on how DETR has taken steps to address the hurdles faced by people who are unsure of which program they are eligible for, such as seeking flexibility from the Department of Labor so the issue does not have to be fully adjudicated before payment is released?
As I indicated earlier in the press briefing, we are leveraging every waiver and every flexibility already that the Department of Labor and the Governor's Office through the emergency orders has given us. We also continue to add additional staff to speed up those processes. And I also would refer everybody to DETR.nb.gov and review the information on our CARES Act charting, because that information also provides the process flow of the eligibility for which programs.
Alrighty, our next question is from Michael Shoro of the Review Journal, and you might have touched on this lightly. How does DETR plan to address many PUA claimants' concerns that the third-party call center can answer general questions but cannot help with claim-specific questions?
I believe this has been covered briefly, but we do have 100 call center agents with Alorica who are taking active claim calls. Those agents are different than the agents that are able to adjudicate claims. So if you have questions that, because you have an issue on your claim, you need to be contacting the adjudication call center. So that's the difference.
Thank you. Our next questions from online. How do you file weekly UI when getting paid every other week part-time? Do you just file standard weekly certification and report your earnings for the given week? And will your claim be adjusted based on the wages you received that week?
That is correct. If you are accepting part-time employment and you are been filing week to week, you can still do that. You can just report those reduced wages for the given week of work and then submit that, and your claim would be adjusted by that dollar amount.
Thank you. Could you elaborate on the on what DETR is doing to expand staff to address the adjudication issues that are going on?
We are actively recruiting. We have hired a number of staff. I know that there's been many questions specific to the numbers, but it's changing every day and every week because we're adding staff all the time. We are also intending on continuing that effort with the support of the Governor's Office. So there will be ongoing additions to staff throughout, and we continue to leverage also our Job Connect staff and several other staff from different divisions and other departments as well.
All righty. A next question. Could you advise, or do you know how soon DETR is expected to have its new director?
I do not have that information. I do not have that insight, and I would refer people to the Governor. I'm sure will make that announcement when he's made that decision.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's all we have.
Thank you.